What's up, guys? It's your boy Shortstack P back with another video. UFC 319 is in the books, and Kahmzat Chimaev is the champion at 185. Complete and utter domination. Bit of a wrestle fest. Some of the casuals thought it was a boring fight, but to put that in perspective, what Kahmzat did to DDP is unheard of. At the top of the game in mixed martial arts, in the UFC even. Nobody does what he did. Controlled the man for 24 minutes straight. Landed 530 something strikes. Set a new record on strikes. Control time. And a guy named DDP controlled him for that amount of time and landed that many strikes. Wasn't the most exciting fight. At the very end, within the last minute or so, DDP got off like 3 or 4 big shots. But in total, I think it was like 50 significant strikes to 530 that Kahmzat had. I mean, guys, we watched another man at the top of the level, the champion at the top of the level in MMA, get crucified for 15 straight minutes. He was in a crucifix, a mounted crucifix for 15 minutes. That doesn't happen at the top of the level in the UFC or in mixed martial arts in general. That doesn't happen. The champion got mounted crucifixed for 15 straight minutes, basically. So for the casuals that are saying that was a boring fight, that was a masterclass of showing, hey, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to you. And you can't do nothing about it. Now, I made a little bit of a prediction earlier on. I think it was a couple days out before Saturday, the fights. And I thought it was, I did say it was Kahmzat. I did believe he was going to win. I thought it was going to be more of a submission, like a finish, third round. Because Dricus kind of does these sprawls, and if you, not sprawls, scrambles. And if you scramble against Chimaev, that's all Chimaev does, practices. Probably 23 hours out of the day is scrambles and stuff like that. That's his art. So I figured Dricus was going to do more of a scramble to get out of these things and get caught in a rear naked choke or a Darce choke, like how Kahmzat's finished a lot of his opponents. But Dricus, in my opinion, played it super safe. Tough as all hell, but didn't expose himself. He was, you got to worry about the hooks of Chimaev, getting in his hooks with his legs. He's weighing on top of you. He's peppering you with punches to the face. Looking for submissions, trying to get a neck, trying to get an arm, trying to get his hooks, the weight on top of you, just all of that combined. I think it kind of broke Dricus and just made him play it safe. Didn't want to expose too much, and it did make for a very technical fight to where Dricus didn't want to get submitted. Any too devastating of shots, and Kahmzat just wasn't going anywhere. He was going to stay on his back like he did for 24 minutes out of the 25 minutes. And going into it, I fully did expect more of a firefight. Dricus called out tons of other fighters. Like, if you're going up against Israel Adesanya, what are you going to do? Just start butt scooting? No, you got to stand there and strike. And then he even said, quote, if you're going up against Chimaev, what are you going to do? Just like not wrestle? You got to wrestle. Dricus didn't wrestle at all. He did the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do all week. He was super confident about it. But he literally did everything that he said he wasn't going to do and critiqued every other fighter for doing. He just froze up, didn't do anything. Now, it's either he didn't do anything or he couldn't do anything, and that goes to show you how good Chimaev really is, and that's why it wasn't a boring fight. Because if he didn't do anything, that's one way. If he couldn't do anything, that's another. That means Kahmzat was that good, and Dricus had no answers for it. So either he was playing it safe or he couldn't do anything. One of the two. And if it's that he couldn't do anything, well, who's going to stop the Wolf? Who can stop Chimaev? Because we just watched DDP in the last, 5 years or so blow through everybody. Undefeated in the UFC. I think he's had like 9-something fights in the UFC. Completely dominated everybody. The Izzies, the Robert Whitakers, the top heap of guys he's blown through. I mean, submitted them. Sean Strickland, wrestled him out, took him down multiple times, outstruck him. The first fight was close, in my opinion, with DDP and Strickland, but the guy seemed unstoppable, and then you got a guy in Kahmzat, the Wolf, Boris Chimaev, that comes in there and just wrestle fucks him for 25 minutes straight. Some people say boring. I don't. I say that is a skill set that is unmatched. He couldn't do anything. I'm sure he wanted to, but he couldn't. So if Kahmzat did that to a guy that blew through everybody in the whole division, and this was really only Kahmzat's second, third-ish fight at 185, and he fought the champion and ragdolled him, and the champion, the previous champion, ragdolled everybody. So I ask you to ponder the thought of who is next. What's next for Chimaev? Who can beat him? That's a genuine question that I have. I don't know. Because the backup fighter for 319 was Caio Bahaio. And the Brazilian, the Fighting Nerds guys. Y'all saw Carlos Proctes get the knockout. Spinning elbow. Sliced Jeff Neal open. Brutal. Anyway, he's part of that crew. Caio Bahaio. Kind of the leader, if you will, of the Fighting Nerds. Fights at the heavier weight class. I think Carlos Proctes is 170. Caio Bahaio is 185. He weighed in as the backup. Made weight. But he's scheduled to fight Nasruddin Imavov. The actual number one contender. Would have taken the fight sooner, but I think he had a hurt hand or something like that. But now he's scheduled to fight Caio Bahaio for the number one contender spot. But it's kind of weird because Caio Bahaio is already scheduled for that fight, but weighed in as the backup fighter for this. So who's the real number one contender? And Kahmzat is saying, okay, let's run it in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi's in a couple months. I know it's less than 8 weeks. Something like that, 9 weeks. And I think Caio Bahaio and Imavov are scheduled to fight in like 6 weeks, 4 weeks. So does Dana White give the call to Caio Bahaio and say, hey, you're fighting in Abu Dhabi in about 9 weeks? Because Kahmzat wants to turn around and fight again in October. And even at that, let's say it is Caio Bahaio, does he have the skill set to beat Chimaev? Caio Bahaio is a guy that been on a tear. A lot like how Dricus came up through 185, he's just beat everybody. Haven't seen too much wrestling. He's kind of a striker, grappler, BJJ guy. He's saying that he did a month-long camp with Chimaev, so he kind of knows his system, what he does, how to anti-wrestle him. if you will. And then on the other end of the spectrum, let's say it's Imavov that ends up fighting him. Okay, well, Strickland beat him, boxed his brakes off. And then he's been on a tear. I'm just doing simple MMA math. You know, he beat him, so this guy should beat him because he beat him. But he beat both of them at one point in time. I don't know. MMA math is kind of silly, but sometimes it works. It's logical. I'm just trying to find answers of who's going to beat this guy. I think we might end up seeing another Khabib dominant, undefeated champ until he retires, because he just did that for 25 minutes to a guy that has not been beaten. That tore through the who's at 185 in the UFC. And I don't know if it's a stretch, and it might be. I know Kahmzat has a lot of work to do to clear out the title challengers and whatnot. But I'm looking at like the future, like a year or two out from now. Maybe a year, we'll see. But Islam Makhachev, he's got the one, you know, fighting, should I say, for the 170 strap coming up. If he gets that, defends it once, maybe before he retires, he jumps up and tries to fight Kahmzat for the 185. And that could be his retire fight. Retire a 3-division champ, dethrones Kahmzat in about a year and a half or so. I just don't see anybody beating Kahmzat anytime soon. That was so dominant, such a powerful performance. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to watch. Watched it live, and yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. You guys let me know what y'all think about Kahmzat and his future. Who do you guys think can even beat him? Like who's on y'all's radar that maybe I don't know about? Anyway, yeah, just let me know down in the comments, guys. It's your boy Shortstack P. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.